Knock knock. Who's there? Somebody dressed in all black with just their eyes showing. Somebody dressed in all black with just their eyes showing who? A ninja. Oh wait, it's not a ninja. It's just a Muslim woman. Why is it that Muslim men have to oppress their women? Why is it that women can't be educated and go to school? Why is it that in countries where it's so hot, Muslim countries that are so hot, yet they have them running around dressed up like ninjas? If this was feudal Japan, I'm pretty sure the samurai would attack those women thinking they were ninjas. So why can't they be free to dress how they want? If it's hot, why can't they wear a short skirt or a bikini or shorts or whatever it may be? It doesn't make sense. So stop oppressing your women. Assalamu alaikum YouTube. Peace be upon you. This is my first official video and it begins now. Why Muslim men should oppress their women. What? Did I just say that? Yeah, I did. This is the title of the video. Why Muslim men should oppress their women. So we have to look at why does the West perceive this? Why does the world think Muslim women are oppressed? So let's get into it. Do they think they're oppressed because of domestic abuse? Because you hear so often, oh, Muslim men, they beat their wives, this, that, the other thing. Okay, if it's that just one specific group of people, then it shouldn't happen in any other group of people. But we all know that is a lie, because it does not matter what religion you are, what race, what ethnicity, what culture, what country, what continent, does not matter what or who you are, there is going to be domestic abuse in your society. So, okay, so it's not abuse. Is it the fact that in the West, they perceive it as Muslim women can't go to school, Muslim girls can't go to school and be educated? That's what they think. That's what you hear so often as well. They ban them from school, this, that. Yes, in certain areas, like in Afghanistan with the Taliban, who are extremists. We'll deal with that in another video, inshallah. Women can get educated. In a Muslim country, do they have boys and girls going to the same school? No, they don't. Why? Why should they? Why should they be forced to conform to society of the West when you look at schools in the West and public schooling system and how that works? It's a joke. People don't go to school to learn or to be educated. They go to school to be with their friends and boys and girls and drugs and whatever. They don't go to school to learn. So in a Muslim country, girls go to school here, boys go to school here. So they don't have the worries and the pressures about all that other garbage. They go to school to learn. In Islam, one of the most important things you have to do as a Muslim is learn, is to gain knowledge, to acquire knowledge of many things, not just Islamic knowledge, but knowledge about sciences, about math, about all of these sort of things. This is something we have to do. This is something that we are commanded to do, is to never stop learning. So how does that apply when Muslim women aren't allowed to learn, but yet the religion says that they have to learn? Yeah, that's what I thought. Is it because Muslim women have to stay home and take care of the kids and look after the house? Is that why they're oppressed? Is that oppression? Well, let's look at it like this. What is the most noble and honorable thing that a woman can do? It is to raise the children which she bore. They're her kids. Why should a babysitter raise them? Or a nanny raise them? Or grandma and grandpa raise them? So, how does that make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. In the West, women they're made to feel oppressed for wanting to be mothers. Oh, the poor thing, she's a homemaker. She can't get a job. She's oppressed in her own home. It's not oppression that a mother takes her child and raises her child, teaches her child manners and morals, which is the complete opposite of the way that the West is now. It's the way that it used to be, but it's not the way that it is now. So is it oppressive that a woman raise her children up to be the best that they can be? I think not. Is it because Muslim women cannot work? Pretty sure I know quite a few Muslim women who have jobs and educations and all that sort of stuff. But beyond that, They can't work? Why should they have to work? Why should a woman, any woman, why should a woman have to work? For money? Okay, well, the nature, a woman's nature is to be a mother. As you can tell, any of you who have kids, you are far more inclined to taking care of them and raising them than your husbands are. This is a fact, and I'm sure all you guys would agree. Your wives can take much better care of the kids. They can handle it. They can deal with the stresses a whole lot better than you can. So, in terms of working, why should they have to be out there slaving away 8 hours a day? Their nature is to raise children. And men, your nature is to be a provider, a hunter-gatherer. It's your job to go out and to strive and to work those hard hours and deal with all those people and whatever it is that you have to do to be the breadwinner and bring that food home to feed your family. This is the way that it's always been. This is the natural way. So Islam is not nurture, it's nature. It wants to put everything back the way it should be, the natural way of things. So is it oppression that a woman has to work, or that a woman shouldn't work? I think it's more oppressive that a woman is forced to work. A woman should be taken care of. All of her needs should be met. If she wants something, she should have that. Her husband should provide her with that. And I mean, if you sisters can disagree with me and say, I want to work, I want to do this, I want to do that, absolutely, you have every right to do that if it's in a halal, a permissible and acceptable manner. Yes, you do. But when you spend your whole life, you're working, and you never have kids, you see so often nowadays, women get to that age and now they want kids. They're 40, 50, and they've stopped producing, eggs, and their body says, no, you can't have kids. But they want kids, so now they go in vitro fertilization and all of these sort of things to have kids, because their biological clock is telling them, man, you screwed up. You need to have kids. It's what you're supposed to do. So I think it's more oppressive to put women through that than it is to take care of your wife and let her raise your kids and take care of your house. Wouldn't you agree? And now it's fact time. Did you know that the first person to accept Islam, the first person to die for the sake of Islam, and one of the first great scholars of Islam all had one thing in common? Any guesses? The fact that they were all women. The first person to accept Islam was Khadija. The first person to die for the sake of Islam was Sumia. And one of the first great scholars in Islam was Aisha radiallahu anhuma. May Allah be pleased with all of them. So Khadija, she trusted the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ so much that whatever he said, because he was so honest and so sincere, she accepted that he truly had a revelation from God. So she accepted right away, no question. Sumia was forced at spear point to either give up Islam or to die, and she chose to die. And she was killed by the archenemy of Islam, George Bush. Just kidding. Well, kind of. The archenemy of Islam back then was Abu Jahl, and he killed her. And one of the first great scholars was Aisha, who was the daughter of Abu Bakr, who was the best friend of the Prophet ﷺ. People came from all over the world to learn from her after the Prophet ﷺ had passed away. Because why? Because she was a scholar. She had so much knowledge, so much, if women can't learn in Islam, why back then are women teaching Islam? Use your brain, people. It's not what you think it is. It's not what you're told it is. Look into it for yourself. Let me just do a quick example for you about why modesty is important. Imagine you're starving to death, out in the middle of nowhere, wherever it may be. The only desire that you have is food. And I offered you one of two choices, but you only get to pick one. Which one would you pick? Would you pick this nice, juicy looking peach? Or would you pick this, don't really know what it is? You're obviously going to pick this one, because your desires want food. They don't want the unknown. This is the same in Islam, because this is the same as this. The only difference is a little piece of fabric covering it up. When you look at non-Muslim women, for the most part, Their juicy peaches are out there for everybody to enjoy. Whereas a Muslim woman saves hers for her husband. She saves her modesty or for her husband. After a while, this one gets old and it gets used up and nobody wants it. But this one stays fresh and preserved. Rotten and gross, fresh and preserved. Which one do you want for a wife? So as you can see, one little piece of fabric goes a long way in protecting one's modesty. So, after clearing those misconceptions, the only thing that we're left with is the fact that the West thinks Muslim women are oppressed simply because they choose to wear a piece of fabric that covers their hair. Really? Okay, so the abuse thing happens everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim or not. Education, you have the right to be educated. Whatever anybody else says are wrong. Whatever I just said, you just look at it. It's because of a scarf, man. They're oppressed because of a scarf that they choose to wear. You know, most people come from some kind of religion, especially in the West. Most of them are Christian descent, whether they still are atheists, whatever they are now, doesn't matter. My point is that your grandmother or your great-grandmother wore a headscarf. So when you look at that, oh, you know, my grandma, she's so modest and she's, you know, it's very respectful and this and that. But you look at a Muslim woman and she's oppressed. That poor oppressed thing. When you look at a nun, for instance, completely covered, just like a Muslim woman, completely covered, you look at her and think, oh wow, you know, that's a very religious woman. And in the same sense, you look at a Muslim woman standing beside her dressed the same, and she's oppressed. She's oppressed, she's oppressed, she's oppressed. Talk about a double standard? I think so. We live in an age of great deception. When we are conditioned and brainwashed to believe that peace and modesty equal violence and oppression. It's very sickening to think that it's more socially acceptable for a woman to dress like a prostitute than it is for a woman nowadays to dress like your grandmother used to dress. So, with everything I just said, you tell me, there's a comment section, why you think Muslim women are oppressed. Believe me, go ask a Muslim woman if she's oppressed. She's not oppressed, she's depressed because you keep asking her stupid questions about her being oppressed. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. So this concludes my first video of why Muslim men should oppress their women. And clearly the title isn't exactly what I talked to you about, but it's the misconception that the world sees that they are oppressed. They're not oppressed. So people, wake up. Open your eyes. Open your own eyes and learn something today. So please click subscribe, comment, share, and whatever else you gotta do. I'm out. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.